Hey guys, this is Kelly again. Sorry I had to redo this. It's gonna be a bunch of things going on in this video. First of all, it's gonna be, hopefully, a short review on a movie called Crow. Now, after I do that review, I'm going to give my 2 cents on the movies that followed the 1994 movie, The Crow. I will also have a link down at the bottom to Rochelle Davis's official website. Now, you guys know Rochelle as Little Sarah from The Crow, the little potty mouth skater chick from the movie. This movie was directed by Alex Portrayas, written by David J. Scow and John Shirley. It is based on a comic book of the same name by James O'Barr. It stars Brandon Lee as Eric Draven. It was Brandon Lee's last movie. The movie is basically about Brandon Lee's character, Eric Draven, being awoken from the dead. In the beginning of the movie, you hear Rochelle Davis as Sarah talking about what the Crow does and how this whole thing works. I'm not going to go into great detail about that because you all know what it is. And she basically says that the Crow helps put the wrong things right. And in the beginning of the movie, I'm going to go back and forth between different scenes, so I may sound a little off in my review. In the opening scene, we see that one of the windows of the apartment is broken, and we see a detective played by Ernie Hudson looking at the crime scene, looking at things that don't make any sense. He's skimming through the crime scene. He sees a wedding invitation. Another police officer says that he found a wedding dress, and Ernie plays Albert, Detective Albert. One of the police officers says, "Sarge, look," and he sees the wedding dress. He said, "Yeah, that's Shelley and Eric Draven. They're supposed to be married tomorrow night." And he's talking about the whole thing, and we see that Shelley's been severely beaten and raped, and she's covered in blood. She's got cuts and stuff. And the ambulance, the people that have to deal with that, tell Albert that her body has to be moved in order for her to be transferred to the hospital. So Albert gives the okay to have her moved to go to the hospital. They move her body. There's police officers down outside where Eric's body is, and they're covering him up because he's already dead on the scene. One of his boss, got pissy. He's like, "You're not supposed to be moving a body. We have certain procedures we're supposed to stand by. You're supposed to give me notification when you do this. You can't just do this." And you see little Sarah step into the crowd of people standing around the crime scene. Little Sarah sees that Eric's already dead. Sarah goes by Shelley, who is being transferred into an ambulance, and she's saying, "Shelley," because she's not sure how she is, and she's looking at Albert, and she's saying, "Tell Eric to take care of Sarah." And she's before that she asks, "Where's Eric?" And he says he's okay. Eric's all right. And then after that, she says, "Tell him to take care of Sarah." And Sarah, based on what she's heard and seen, she's already know what's going to happen. I mean, Albert's already trying to convince her that everything's okay, and she knows the truth. So she's looking at Albert and she's saying, "You lied to her about Eric." And he's like, "I had to." And she says, "You're lying to me about Shelley. She's gonna die, isn't she?" And Albert thinks that little Sarah is Shelley's younger sister, but what she ends up saying is, no, Shelley's my friend. Her and Eric take care of me. And then cut to the scene where it's 1 year later after the assault and murder of both Eric and Shelley. Eric, um, little Sarah goes by to visit Shelley and Eric's graves, not knowing that the crow will soon land on Eric's tombstone to help wake him up. She sees the crow and she's looking at him and she's saying, "What are you, the night watchman?" So she's going off, being on the streets. Her mom's a drug addict, so her mom barely pays any attention to her. Cut to the crow chipping away on the tombstone. It's already, raining. And a few scenes after that, you see the thugs, Tintin, T-Bird, Fun Boy, they're all sitting at the bar, they're not sitting at the bar, they're blowing up another arcade, another building, and they do it, and they don't get caught, but they have to slow down because they forget to realize that there's a cop sitting right where they're trying to drive by at. Now, as that's happening, Albert's buying little Sarah dinner. He asked Sarah, he said, "How do you drive your skateboard on a wet street?" She's like, "Pure talent." He's like, "You hungry?" She's like, "Are you buying?" She's like, "Of course I'm buying." So he buys her a hot dog and they start chatting away. And as they're chatting, the building blows up. Albert has to go see what it is. And then Eric awakens from his grave, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Doesn't have a clue what the hell's happening. But he doesn't know why the crow's there, and he gets scared, and he's not sure how to take everything. So he's walking around barefoot, raining, wet, cold, not feeling too well. He goes by a dumpster and gets the shoes that are sitting in the dumpster, gets them, then goes to the apartment that him and Shelley shared. He sees that the apartment is completely destroyed, molded, burned to the ground. He sees little Gabriel. Little Gabriel is the cat that him and Shelley had. Now, as he's picking up Gabriel, he has these flashbacks of what happened to him and Eric. And as he's seeing that, he can't sit still. He starts seeing things and he starts getting emotional. And then, you see Shelley she's hearing a knock at the door. She doesn't know who it is. Unbeknownst to her, it's Tintin, Fun Boy, and T-Bird. And Skank, forgot to add Skank in there. They all come in the apartment and they say, "Well, we're here to review for housing, to check up on you." Little does she know, they were sent in to kill her and Eric. Eric is out somewhere doing something, and she starts getting assaulted. One of them slaps her, she falls to the floor. Then one of them drags her by her hair. Now, as this is happening, Eric is trying to walk through the front door. He's not sure what the hell's going on. He's walking through the front door. He hears Shelley screaming. Sorry. He hears Shelley screaming. He sees Fun Boy, Tintin, T-Bird, and Skank assaulting her. One of them tears her costume up, trying to rape her. T-Bird is holding her down so she can't move. Eric sees it happening, and as he's trying to stop it, he gets stabbed. He has a knife thrown at him. His girlfriend's pleading with him to help her, and she's being assaulted. All of them take turns raping her. Eric can't fight back because he's bleeding severely. One of them shoots Eric, puts him through a window. As he's being stabbed and shot, Shelly is continuously raped by Tintin, and he cuts her and all that. And then after that happens, they throw him out of the window, and he dies right on impact. So as he's seeing this, he's trying to process everything. Cut to another scene. Tintin, T-Bird, Skank, and Funboy are at their favorite hangout. Now, Sarah's mom is sorry, I'm fighting sleep because I haven't been sleeping well. Sarah's mom is a waitress and a drug addict who happens to be sleeping with Funboy, and all the guys are, having interest in her, and the boys are all taking shots of like whiskey or something, and they're putting bullets in their mouth, and they're taking their shots and just swallowing the bullets. One of them, T-Bird, one of them takes a shot, downs it with whiskey, then takes a cig or a cigar and burns it on his tongue. Funboy is like, "You sick fuck!" And T-Bird, they're all getting drunk, and Darla comes in and says, "Put your guns away." Put your guns away, huh, guys? And so they put their guns away, and one of them, Funboy, makes out with her. Cut to the scene where Eric's getting prepared for battle. He's starting to see things. He's sitting at the desk. In the desk, he sees a wedding magazine. He sees pictures. He picks up the wedding magazine and starts seeing Shelly in her wedding dress. Little Sarah saying how great she looks. And then he starts picking up pictures that they took as a couple. Various memories start to flood back. Him and little Sarah and Shelly having a pillow fight and all of that. He starts seeing all these things, and he gets emotional. He gets pissed. And as he's getting pissed, he sees the mask. He starts painting his face white, doing the black purple lipstick and all of that, and gearing up for battle, getting himself ready. And after doing all of that, he goes to Gideon's pawn shop. Now, Tintin sold Shelly's wedding ring for money after they killed her. So he goes there, hopefully to get information on where and why they were targeted by Gideon. Of course, Tintin is trying to sell another engagement ring and a leather purse for pot money or whatever, alcohol money or something like that. And him and Gideon get into an argument. Gideon gives him $50. Tintin's pissed as fuck. He gets pissed, takes the $50 and leaves. And as he's leaving, he closes the gate shut because Gideon had requested it. He's like, "You're lucky I didn't stab you in your fat ass." He's throwing insults. And as he's leaving the pawn shop, the Crow helps guide Eric to Gideon's pawn shop. Now, Eric goes in. He breaks the lock, goes in, breaks the front door, gets in there, introduces himself to Gideon, and asks Gideon, "There was a man here over a year ago that sold a gold engagement ring. His name, was Tintin." Now, before this scene, like I said, I'm going to be going back and forth between different scenes for this review, for this movie. Before the attack on Gideon's pawn shop, Tintin runs into Eric. Eric tries to get answers from Tintin. Tintin's playing badass. "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't know who the fuck you are." So he ends up killing Tintin. Tintin gets stabbed with his knives in alphabetical order. After that, we see Top Dollar and his sister. Um, they just got done doing a threesome with some chick. She takes a shower. He sees a globe. He's talking about what the globe symbolizes and what it means for him and whatnot. And the girlfriend or the sister ends up killing the hooker that they slept with. And then cut to Gideon's pawn shop. Eric breaks the lock, breaks the front door, gets in the shop, tells Gideon, I'm looking for an engagement ring. That was gold. That was sold to you from Tintin. Now where is it? He's starting, Gideon's trying to play badass, right? Well, he tries to play badass. Eric doesn't get the answer he wants. Then he beats the crap out of Gideon, finally forcing Gideon to spit out what the fuck happened to the engagement ring that was given to Shelley. In doing so, Gideon gets his hand stabbed with a knife. And then he tells Gideon, you tell those guys that death is coming for them tonight. You have one chance to live. Please don't kill me. Take whatever you want. So he takes some of the other engagement rings, loads them into his gun. Before all of that, he douses the whole store with gasoline. Douses the whole thing. He's like, is that gasoline I smell? And Gideon's like, oh shit. So Eric walks out to the front of the store, shoots the store, destroys it, has it blown up, and he looks for the next guy, which happens to be Fun Boy. Now cut to that part. Like I said, I'm gonna be going in between different scenes. Fun Boy and Darla are having a drink, and little Sarah sees her mom, and she's like, so I guess she won't be coming home tonight, huh, Darla? And little Fun Boy says, why don't you go play with your dolls, kid? Why don't you just go and get lost? She's like, I don't have any dolls. She's like, her mom was like, I told you not to come in here. It's not safe and it's dangerous. She's like, she just looked at her mom like, whatever. And she's like, go get some food, huh? She's like, somebody already bought me dinner. The police, you know. So she's being a little smartass with her mom because her mom's not paying attention. And then she goes and gets herself a soda, and she talks to the bartender who's good friends with her mom. And it's like, your mom? I can't do anything about her. She's kind of off at the moment. Little Sarah says, yeah, way off. But cut to the scene where Fun Boy gets assaulted. Him and Darla go up to his little pad, his little fucked up apartment, to get high. They get high off of morphine. They're getting high and they don't know that Eric's stuck into their apartment. Darlene is high as a kite. She's slipping in and out of consciousness. She doesn't realize that the crow is sitting in there, so she's high as a kite. Her guy's kissing her everywhere. Got her high as a kite. She doesn't know that the crow's landed, and she looks at it. She sees it. She's like, there's a big fucking bird over there. And he goes, it's a squawk, and he starts teasing it, throwing insults and shit. And Eric lands in the apartment, in the window. He sneaks in. Here, birdie, birdie, birdie. And he's trying to call the bird, and the bird's not moving. And you hear Eric say, here, Fun Boy. And he scares the shit out of Fun Boy. Fun Boy's like, don't do that. You just gave me you almost gave me a heart attack. And his girlfriend's high as a kite, and she's laughing her ass off. And he's like, have you seen yourself in the mirror lately? You look totally fucked up. And he's starting to throw insults. And they start trying to talk about what the hell led up to the whole them getting murdered, but he doesn't get the answers. So, because Fun Boy is as high as a kite off of morphine. He can't answer questions quite correctly. So he has a loaded gun. Now, he has it loaded. Eric puts his hand in front of it. Fun Boy pulls the trigger. Starts laughing his ass off. He shoots. He scores. And he's being an ass, just being high as a motherfucker. Now, as he's seeing Eric's hand all bloody, he sees that the hand heals. The wound where the gunshot was heals. It's like, what the fuck? And Eric's starting to laugh his ass off, and the girlfriend's paranoid as fuck, so she goes into the bathroom for safety precautions. And then Fun Boy tries to shoot him again, but Eric makes it to where Fun Boy gets shot. Fun Boy starts acting like an ass. Look what you did to my sheets. And he's like, oh, does that hurt? And he's like, fuck yes, it hurts. And so Darla goes into the bathroom, locks the door. Locks the door. That doesn't work because Eric kicks it down. Puts Fun Boy in the bathroom, in the tub, runs the water. Now, Darla does not know that this is Eric, the one who's been taking care of her child. She is too busy crying in hysterics high as a motherfucking kite, wondering what the fuck's going on. She tries to cut Eric. It doesn't work. Eric moves out of the way. He grabs her, drags her in front of the mirror, puts her arm to where she can see it, and just drains the morphine out of her arm. He's like, he tells her, Mother is the name of God on the lips and hearts of all children. Do you understand? And as he's saying that, he's draining the morphine out of her arm. And he's saying, morphine is bad for you. And she looks at him, and she's like, who the hell are you? And then he looks at her, and he says, your daughter is out in the streets waiting for you. So he waits for her to leave. She runs in hysterics, scared shitless, runs out the door, leaves it open. Fun Boy, because he's been shot and he's high as a kite off of morphine, he has no clue what the fuck's gonna happen next. So Eric pulls Fun Boy out of the tub, puts him down on his bed, then proceeds to take the needle that was used for morphine and literally give him more than he's supposed to, making him overdose. And then as he's being killed, one of the other henchmen for Top Dollar comes in, and he sees that Fun Boy has been killed, and that there's the crow carved out on his chest. He's covered in blood, and Eric runs off. Then he goes after, he went after Tintin, he went after Fun Boy. He goes after T-Bird. T-Bird is played by David Patrick Kelly, who is in 48 Hours and Commando as Sully. He gets to T-Bird by T-Bird asks Skank to go into the store and get some cigs and beer and snacks and shit. Now, as Skank is doing that, Fun Boy doesn't know, or not Fun Boy, sorry, T-Bird does not know that Eric is in the car. Eric hijacks the car and kidnaps T-Bird. T-Bird doesn't know who the hell this guy is. He says he looked at him. He was being driven. Got him to a specific part of the city. And he tied him, he duct taped him to the front seat of the car, driver's side. duct taped him, tied him up, put gasoline in the car, put it in between T-Bird's legs, and had T-Bird just tied up in T-Bird's, reciting one of the things he said when he killed Shelly and Eric. And he got scared. He's like, who the fuck are you? Why the fuck are you here? And he doesn't say anything. Then Eric puts the car in reverse. Has it to where he can't stop the car. And as the car is being driven off the highway, Skank sees the whole thing happen. T-Bird ends up getting killed. And after he's killed, Eric leaves a trail of gasoline, lights a lighter, lights the whole area that's covered in gasoline, and it's the picture of the crow on the ground. Now, the other scene that follows is Darlene trying to be a mom, and little Sarah does not know that Eric talks some sense into her mother. She has no clue. She doesn't understand. And she's like, would you like some breakfast? And Sarah's like, you're acting all weird. What the hell happened to you? And she wasn't sure how to take it. She's like, what's been that change? What the fuck's going on, Mom? She's like, I had a little help. How do you like your eggs? And she's like, I like them over easy, Darla. And she said, Dar. And she's like, I mean, Mom. So they kind of repair their relationship a little bit. I don't know. I think her character was killed off. I try to repair their relationship. One of the henchmen, for top dollar, goes to Eric Draven's grave and sees that his body's not there. And he sees that as weird. Now, the next following scenes are Eric trying to get to Skank and the other guys, the other henchmen. He gets to Skank, he runs into Top Dollar, and he's saying, I want Skank. I don't want you guys, I just want Skank. Do not ask, I don't want to have to fight through all of you to get to him. He's like, well, I'm sorry, you can't have him. It's like, I love the makeup. And he's like, I love your outfit, but I'm not sure about the makeup, though. So Eric goes to battle with the henchmen and the other guys, and he gets to Skank last. He's like, it's a bad day to be a skank, huh, Skank? He's like, I'm not a skank. Skank's dead. And Eric has another flashback of Shelly being held down by Skank because she's being assaulted. It's like, that's right. And he throws him out the window and he dies right on impact. And then there's a whole blowout. Eric's powers start to weaken a little bit. Albert gets notified that there is, the criminals are trying to do something, have another devil's night, blow up another building, and it doesn't happen that way because Eric's trying to get to Top Dollar. Now, as he's trying to get to Top Dollar, he ends up having to take a break for a little bit and ditches his jacket, and he looks and he says, I'm coming home, Shelly. I'll be home soon. And he sees these little kids running down the street with candy in their Halloween costumes. And that is the last image of Brandon. Him smiling because he was, like I said, he was killed on the set. So they had to, digitize his face. But after that, he goes to the grave site of Shelly, and he sees Sarah laying there. And he wakes Sarah from her sleep, and she's sleeping on Shelly's grave. And he's like, Sarah, it's late. It's not safe for you to be out here late like this. It's like, you need to go home. She's like, everybody's dead. Everybody's been killed. Where am I supposed to go? And she's like, I knew you'd come here. And she's like, you didn't say goodbye. And he's like, I'm sorry, Sarah, but you're just gonna have to deal with that. And and she's like, I didn't want you to go. And she's like being guilt-ridden because she loves him so much. And in turn, he gives her Shelley's engagement ring that he had given her. And she put it around her neck, and he's like, I think Shelley will want you to have this. So he puts it around her neck. She's like, I'll never take it off. And so she hugs him because she knows that he's going to have to leave again. After she is given the engagement ring and she tries to head home, Top Dollar and his sister, his lover, and another henchman get to little Sarah and they trap her. They kidnap her and they take the engagement ring off of her neck because she had it tied around her neck. That being the final scene in where Draven faces off with Top Dollar trying to save Sarah, and Sarah is used as bait. Sarah is tied to something she can't break free. But before he can get to Top Dollar, he has to deal with the skanky lover, who was played by Ling. She captures the crow. She says, I have been given more power than I've ever had. And luckily, sorry for you, you're not going to have any more. And he looked and he saw the crow getting a little antsy. Then he looked at her, and the crow pecked her in the eye and made her blind, and she fell to her death. Albert got shot, so he wasn't able to move around. Eric, in turn, along with Albert, have a shootout with the other henchman, the last one standing. He ends up getting killed. Then it leads to the final showdown, which is Top Dollar versus Eric. Eric and Top Dollar have a bit of a discussion. They start having an argument, or they get into an altercation. And little Sarah is standing by Top Dollar. Top Dollar is threatening to throw her off the roof of the building. She ends up getting thrown off, but she doesn't fall to her death. She's hanging on to the side, and Top Dollar and Eric are fighting and duking it out. Before they're duking it out, but as a last resort, he says, I'm sorry for messing up your girlfriends and your wedding plans. He says, I will miss you. Eric looks at him and goes, I have something I want to give you, and I don't want it anymore. He grabs Top Dollar's temples, holds on to him, and shows him the vision of Shelley fighting for her life for over 30 hours in the hospital. It's like 30 hours of pain, all at once, all for you. And as he's saying that, Top Dollar sees it, and he's being thrown to his death off the roof, and he falls and he dies. Then Eric goes in to save Sarah, gets Sarah, pulls her to safety, then goes to see Albert, and Albert's wounded, he's bleeding, he's trying to smoke a cig, wondering if he's going to die or not. Then his detective asshole boss comes in and says, is this all you? It's like, no. It's like, your Luganti's on the roof. And, he gets taken to the hospital. Eric ends up going back to the grave to be with Shelley. And he's laying there on her grave, not knowing that she's been awoken to be reunited with him. He's laying on it and he's touching her headstone. And the most beautiful scene that I've seen in the movie, there are a lot of beautiful moments in that film, is her touching him, trying to get him to recognize that she's not in her grave, that she's out. And she touches his head, and he turns and he sees her, and she touches his face, and she smiles, and he's sitting there. He just couldn't believe it, and they end up kissing, being reunited. And then they both return to their graves after being reunited, and everything goes to normal. And then the crow lands on Eric's tomb, gives her back the ring that Eric gave her earlier in the evening, and she says thank you. And one of the most touching things in that film is the quote that she said, at the end of the film. If those that we love are stolen from us, pray to have them live on. Buildings burn, people die. True love, but real love is forever. And that is the most touching thing I have ever seen in my life. Now, The Crow will always be the first original Crow will always be my favorite. Always. The ones Crow City of Angels, Crow Salvation, and Crow Wicked Prayer are all shit. Okay? I've seen all of them in their entirety, and the original Crow is always going to be my favorite. The ones that followed are complete utter shit. I don't know what the fuck the producers and the writers and the others that were involved in doing the sequels that followed were thinking, because it went and fucked up the whole meaning of the movie for me. I've watched all of them in their entirety, and I can tell you I'm not pleased. I'm not happy. I think it should be left alone. I've heard that there is a remake in the works. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I wish they would stop that. There is no sense in trying to redo something that has already been done, that has been done beautifully. Why have someone try and do what Brandon Lee did? Brandon Lee did that to break away from his father's shadow, and sadly, he succeeded. He became successful, but he ended up dying because of it. Now, I don't know. I don't think there should be any more remakes. I'm not pleased. I mean, like I said, the first one is always going to be my favorite. It's part of my childhood. I grew up watching that movie, and I've become obsessed with it in my later years as an adult. So, yeah, and the soundtrack for it is killer. Now, I can understand a lot of people may not be happy with what I had to say about the others that followed after The Crow, but I can tell you that the ones I've seen are a worthless piece of shit. I don't even know the fuck the producers and the writers were thinking about when they had to have sequels follow the original. That was a bad idea. And the one thing that pissed me off more was to have Sarah's character killed off shortly after in the second one. That didn't make any sense to me. And I don't, like I said, the first one's always going to be my favorite. I don't have anything nice to say about the originals. Yes, I know they're all different, but the first one's always going to be my favorite. And I don't know. I really don't get it. Just, if you want to make us happy, if you want to make the true fans of The Crow, the original Crow, happy, give us some interviews or behind the scenes footage or gag reels or something. Don't do any more remakes, please. The original is always going to be the best. Yes, I understand that there are a lot of people that are going to be for it, but I'm not one of them. Okay? I don't think it should be done. I think it's a way of tarnishing Brandon's legacy that he had left behind. I think it would fuck up the memory of what a lot of us have grown up to love. I think that Hollywood has become so fucking greedy that they don't care, and it doesn't mean anything to them. But for the fans of this film, it means something. For me, I was only 8 years old when it came out. So as a child, I remember seeing various scenes in the movie and thinking, I want to make this part of my collection one day. And now it finally is. Just don't mess with our childhood memories, especially mine. This is a part of my childhood, and when I have kids, I'm going to pass it on to mine. I don't want to see any more remakes to this. I don't want to see any more sequels to this, because it's not going to mean shit. The only thing that's going to make us happy is if Hollywood doesn't do it, knowing them they've become too fucking greedy for this shit. I think it should be left alone. Sorry I've been yawning so much throughout movie reviews, but I've been fighting sleep for the last last week or so, so I'll try to cut back on that. But I wanted to give my 2 cents on The Crow, the original Crow, and the ones that followed, and possible remake of the original, which, like I said, is going to be a worthless piece of shit because it's not going to mean anything, and it's going to piss everybody else off that loved the original, that loves the original, including me. Way to go, Hollywood. Way to fuck yourself over. Way to fuck up Brandon's memory. Way to piss us off. Thanks a lot. That's going to be it for now. There'll be more reviews on the way. Alright.